Yeah, so this is a great start. This is absolutely a great start. Hi, everybody. It's been a bit since I did a lecture like this, so forgive me for the little bit of scuff. But this is important and all that stuff. So this is an important info lecture. So this is going to be a little more professional as much as I can. But of course, there will be technical difficulties. So forgive. So let's hope and pray that things work out. So allow me a moment to kind of make sure that everything is working properly. Hopefully that works out. Nothing's too loud. I'm just gonna put like this just in case. But hi everyone. Hi. Welcome to my voice acting 102 lecture. So for anyone who's usually around in my streams, anyone who's usually around in my content, this is a free voice acting lecture. This is one of two that I've created throughout my life. The first one being my voice acting 101 lecture, which is just the bare bone basics of voice acting for anyone who is very curious about voice acting and all that stuff. It's very much a beginner's guide, if you will. That's why it's free. That's why it's available for everyone, because I want to make sure that it's accessible for everyone to learn from, to expand their roots and stretch their arms and become great actors. So this is the 102 course. The 102 course will focus on extremes of vocalizations, the extremes of screaming, crying, pain. But there is a 101 course. Michaela Laws voice acting 101 is available. I didn't go to 101. I'm in the wrong class. It's all good. The 101 course is still available to you, of course, as it always is, as this one will be as well. But just to get the ball rolling, allow me to kind of reiterate something that comes with my lectures. If there are questions, leave them for the end, because this is a lecture. I want to make sure I get as much information as possible. And I want to make sure that if I do answer your question, I'd rather it be answered in this lecture instead of me just taking the time to answer it and then already reiterating that answer already. So leave any sort of burning questions for the end. You may get your answer from this lecture before you even ask the question. But if I don't answer your question, leave it for the end. So there you go. Easy peasy. So this is Voice Acting 102, aka how to scream, cry, emulate pain without actually hurting yourself or risking your well-being behind the mic. Because it's very important to understand that extremes can ruin your career. I mean that in a physical and health sense. Because a lot of people don't understand that screaming and crying and pain are all actually physically traumatizing to your body in different ways. That us as actors, we have to emulate these extremes in a safe manner while still being absolutely believable. So if you cannot stay for this lecture, please do not worry. This lecture will be available later on YouTube. So if you're on Twitch, sorry, Twitch only allows me to keep things up for a limited amount of time, but YouTube, it'll have it until YouTube decides to kick me out. And it will be available for free. Please know that I'm not taking any sort of payments for this. I just want to be able to help give information out. So I'm sure some people who might come in here might ask, like, well, who the hell am I? Why should my opinion matter on this? Why should I be the one to tell you these things? There are other people who have these classes for like hundreds of dollars, and why should I listen to you who's giving this information for free? Well, first and foremost, I'm a multi-award winning ADR director for anime. You may recognize some of my directing works in Fire in Its Fingertips Seasons 1 and 2, as well as Game World Reincarnation, Henkei Shoujo, and I've also done some assistant directing for like Titan's Bride and Isekai Onsen Paradise. We do all of these things, and I got awards for them, so I think I'm doing at least something right. I'm also an active working voice actor, actively, so you may recognize some of my works as Lynetta from Sucker for Love. You may recognize me as Sylvana from Aphmau and Catface. You may also recognize me in Gunvolt 3 as the Jin and Layla. I have a long resume that's we're getting close to 100 roles. So, and I'm still actively working to this day. So, trust me, I'm not taking a vacation, nor am I retired and giving you outdated information. I am still actively working with the skills that I got. And I'm also a writer for ASMR and video games. You may recognize Seduce Me the Atome, as well as me currently being part of the writing team for Project Melody and Neptune Worlds. And you know, I'm also a fiction consumer. I'm a streamer and a VTuber. So I think I have the gambit of like experience to be able to at least give you all information that can help you in your journey to being a great voice actor with a large arsenal set that directors will literally salivate over. So, I mean, just maybe. Why am I doing this? I just want to reiterate, I like seeing new talent in cool projects. Yes, those that are already in the field already got the skills. They got the hands and pockets to be able to like, hey, I can do X, Y, and Z, pull me. This is literally the case of me going, well, how about we get some fresh blood? And these fresh blood people, you should have the skills that all of these pros should have. So if I can give you a tool set that you can use to up your game, to be better, to get higher in the voice acting field, there you go. I like seeing it happen. I like seeing a new face and going, huh, that's a new person. Good for them. That's awesome. I love that for them. Now, let me halter some expectations really quick. Here is what you're going to expect for this lecture specifically. If you are looking for the essence of voice acting, the basics of voice acting, what acting is, how to be able to act properly, I have a 101 course available on my YouTube channel. For this specific lecture, I am here to guide you through your extremes safely. These extremes, again, being screaming, crying, and pain. That's specifically what I want to focus on, because I'm not here to like tell you how to be a monster and all that stuff. I'm here to tell you what the everyman voice actor will probably do, and either be screaming in fear after some sort of dastardly plan goes awry, or some sort of scream of justice when you're fighting the villain, or crying when something traumatic has happened to your character. I want to be able to give you access to your extremes safely, because anyone and their mother could tell you, oh, just scream, just do it. Just do it. But there is a level of trauma you need to understand, that for the longevity of your voice and for the longevity of your career, you want to be able to access it safely and securely. I'm also here, for example, to teach you how to scream without hurting your voice. So a lot of people instantly think, oh, you just scream with your throat, when really there's better ways to scream which sound like it's coming from your throat, but the strength is coming from somewhere else, and it helps you, you know, not go to the hospital. I'll explain that later. I'm also here to teach you how to get in and out of your emotional weak points safely. Also, thank you, Brian, for the 87 months. But I'm also here to get you out of your emotional weak points for acting. Sometimes there are roles that are extremely emotionally heavy, where, like, putting yourself in a vulnerable position to cry is mentally taxing. There are so many actors out there that get not like stunted, but like scared of certain roles because so much heaviness is involved. So that being able to navigate that safely is another goal that I want to keep in mind for this lecture. And then I want to make you sound believable when your character is hurt. It's not just, oh, owie, I got hurt. No. I want you to actually be able to understand the science and physically engage with pain without putting you in a position to feel pain. Does that make sense? I don't want you to hurt yourself literally just to make it sound like you're in pain. I want you to understand that there is a skill set in science you can use to emulate such things to a believable manner, so that way you can use it and actually be ready for a fight scene. So, yeah. And, I mean, if you find any extra tips in this, it kind of helps down the line. So, let me explain what this is not going to do. Because I have a feeling some people are going to walk in with some sort of expectation of what I'm going to teach. Allow me to just clear up something that I'm not going to tell you. First, I'm not here to make you perfect monster or texture vocals. That's not the skill set I'm aiming for. There are other educators out there, like, who do fantastic work with monster sounds, monster voices, textured vocals, like where you can sound like you have a gravity voice. That's actually a skill set you need to hone in on and perfect and use. And there are teachers who can teach you that to a long degree. That'll help you build the stamina and the tool set to be able to maintain a controlled and long character voice like that for a long period of time. This is not that one. This is not that lecture. This lecture is for the everyman voice actor who may find themselves in Walla screaming to the heavens because a big monster is destroying their city, or this actor who finally gets a main role, and this main role is full of tears and trauma and pain. I'm here for those everyman actors who That's the goal here. I'm also not here how to teach you how to raise or lower your mic sensitivity. Because here's the thing. Here's the fun thing. There are so many microphones and so many preamps out there. Me saying, well, just lower your mic, dummy, is not going to give you much of anything. And me trying to go through every single mic and every single preamp on how to make you raise or lower your mic sensitivity is just going to waste so much of y'all's time. Because some of you might not even have the ability. So, if you are trying to figure out how to do that, make sure you research into your microphone and into your preamps to be able to raise and lower your mic sensitivity. So that way, when you do scream, you're not peeking into your audio DAW, that you're not breaking the audio sound. But that requires a little bit of research on your end. I'm just here to make sure that your acting is believable while being safe. Got that? I'm not here to contradict solid advice. If you are skilled in the field of acting and you are like, oh, I already know how to do X, Y, and Z because my teacher told me X, Y, and Z and I haven't been hurt yet and I haven't all that stuff, I'm not here to contradict that solid advice. If you went to a high-end voice actor and they taught you a thing and I say something completely different, I'm not trying to negate their advice. I'm trying to give you another set of options that you can use that has been proven to help the longevity of your voice, to prove the longevity of your ability to continue acting. Just think of it as adding another tool. I'm not trying to replace tools, I'm just trying to add to it. Pardon me as I also make sure my throat is nice and liquidated. And I'm not here to make you super paranoid about your voice. If you are ever kind of worried about being able to go into these extremes and you're scared to go into them, or you're thinking, oh God, I can't get into the mindset, or I can't think of myself crying, or I don't know how to sound believable in pain, I'm not here to make you paranoid if you can't reach these goals. The point of this down the line is to figure out a way for you to practice and a way for you to have this skill set so you can eventually hone your skills, eventually be able to be like, yes, I can do this. So don't stress if you cannot do anything I'm saying here right now. That's going to be a big key point of this lecture, is that you need to know your limitations, and practice will help you stretch those limits to infinity at that point. So there may be some people who are just kind of like, blah, 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 this is a bird course, I can scream into a mic, I can be the next Goku, blah, 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 I can cry into a microphone, I can just hit myself. Shh. Quiet. Extremes are extremely tough. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like, extremes are physically taxing and mentally taxing on an actor. There's a reason why when we do them, it takes a lot out. And when you are in that position, after you're done doing that major intense moment, you are lightheaded, you're winded, you're like, holy God, oh my God, that was a lot. Screaming can be very dangerous, for example. Your voice is literally your instrument. Your voice is what you use in your career. And screaming is so volatile and so carnal that it can tear through your vocal cords like no one's business. There have been voice actors who lost being a voice actor because they shredded their voice so hard. There are some voice actors today that have felt the weight of screaming to such degree that it was almost detrimental to their careers. So please take this seriously. It's not just a bird course. This is not just a reiteration of things that you should probably know. This is reminding you that extremes are extremely tough. And crying, for example, is also very vulnerable. Emotional breaks aren't a joke. Emotional trauma and turmoil that a character goes through, an emotional excitement that they can rise hop high to, is crazily taxing on the spirit. It puts you in such a vulnerable position where everything is released out and you're kind of putting yourself out with open arms. And for many actors, that's terrifying. So it's a very tough position. And with wounds, it's not easy to convey wounds behind a microphone, because there are some people that joke like, haha, it sounds like they're moaning in pleasure, when really they're getting beat to death. So it's one of those things where you really need to understand how to separate and deviate and make sure that everyone knows exactly what your character is going through and exactly what they're feeling, and not just make it like a joke. So yeah, this is a free lecture. Don't complain. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. Someone else will teach you something better. So, allow me to recap 101, because some of you may have been here from 101, some of you may not have heard of my 101. So I want to reiterate what I believe is voice acting, or acting in general. You see that second word? The second word in this entire job title is acting. That's the key. You don't just go into the booth and assume you know what the hell you're doing, unless you actually know that acting is part of the job. So with acting, what is acting? And baseline, what is voice acting? I have an answer to this in the 101, and it boils down to acting is the art of lying. Now, what do I mean by this? A lot of people are like, oh no, it's like bringing the character to life. It's bringing the character to reality. It's telling their truth and making their truth and your truth. And no, it's not. It's lying out your ass. It is lying hardcore. So again, if you didn't watch my if you didn't watch my 101 lecture, there you go. Watch my 101 lecture. I go deeper into detail about it. I make one credit misname. I say one credit wrong, but 99.9% of it is completely fine. But take a look at that after this lecture, obviously. But essentially, remember, we are not the characters we play. We are not the uber villain that's out burning villages and killing people and letting horrible things happen. We are not the superhero who can fly 10 million meters into the air and save the day. We are not the anime character with 100 different harem options. It's not reality. Sorry. We can't make that real. You can't make a character real like that. I'm sorry. I hate to burst your bubble on that. We also don't have to agree with the characters we play. Just because you play a villain doesn't make you a villain. Just because you play a problematic character in an audio drama or a visual novel or an anime doesn't make you a problematic person. I hate to be the so contradictory opinion here against the entirety of Twitter, but just so you know, things that are fictitious are not real. But you can't make fiction real. I'm sorry, you can't make that really hot, sexy cat boy come to life just by being a good actor. I'm very, very sorry to break your expectations. But our work is their lives. As we are the real people, we are the ones who have the vocal cords to bring their stories to life with our voice. Our work is what determines if they can actually live within their worlds. They are reliant upon us to speak their stories with our voice. Their truth must be portrayed as truth, even if they are lies of reality. Again, acting is the art of lying. We are not trying to make fiction truth. We're not trying to make fiction a reality. We are trying to tell a lie so that when an audience hears this, they fully believe what the character is saying. They fully believe that the character wants X, Y, or Z. We're not trying to make the character real. We're not trying to make Sebastian Michaelis from Black Butler real. We're not trying to make Lynetta from Sucker for Love real. We're trying to make sure that the audience knows that their reasons, their expectations, and their actions are real to them, even if they are lies of reality. Does that make sense why I say art of lying? That voice acting is the art of lying. So how do you act or lie? That's really simple. I will give you the X marks the spot on the treasure map. The answer of how you act or lie is to answer this question. Why? Why? Why the hell is this character doing this? And you don't have to agree with the answer. You don't have to agree with why a character is doing what they're doing. You just need to answer it and make it so that that lie is a truth. So why? It could be, why are they saying what they're saying right now? If the script is telling them to start screaming their head off at their enemy because they're just so frustrated, that's the why. They're so frustrated that they need to scream to be heard. Then also, why this line? Why is it, I hate you, I wish you would die? Why that line? It could be they have gone so far to that extreme where nothing would please them more in this world than their enemy straight up choking and dying. So they're just gonna say exactly that with every bit of their chest. It could also be, why are they trying to achieve their goal? Why? What's the point of all this? Why? Why? Again, why is your answer? Why is how you act? Why is how you lie? And then why are they the way that they are? Again, why is the question. The why is it? Why it will get you so far in acting. Now, why scream or cry? That's again, we're going into the extremes of beyond just answering a character's relationship in life. Why scream or cry? What are the stakes? What are the stakes that the character is going through that would put them in a position where if they don't get their way, if they don't get the resolution that they want, that they're going to start screaming or start crying? What is the stake that they have to go against? Could it be that if they don't defend this one spot, their family will die behind them? Is it to the point where if they don't actually convince this person to stop being terrible, that they might just end up falling in love and being back in a toxic relationship? What are the stakes? What are the stakes for this character to get to that extreme of screaming and crying? Where was the acceptable line for them? Where if they didn't cross that boundary, if they didn't cross that line, they wouldn't have to scream or cry. Where was that line? You gotta figure it out. Because screaming and crying requires you to breach that boundary. It requires you to break through that expectation. How emotionally attached is the character to everything that's going on? Not just the stakes, not just the person they're talking to, not just the environment around them. Like, how emotionally attached is this character? Is this screaming just wild and fervent and nothing attached and is just screaming for the sake of screaming? Or is this screaming visceral? Inner turmoil, like finally bubbling up like a volcano and just needs to explode? Are they crying because, oh my god, it's the happiest day of their life and they just need to start crying, or else, God forbid, they're gonna vomit or throw up? Like, how emotionally attached are they to this situation? And then, will screaming or crying help them? Is it gonna help? Are they screaming for the sake of screaming? Or is this a cathartic reaction? There is a big difference in how much energy you throw into it, depending on whether or not this is actually attached and cathartic to them, or they're just screaming for the sake of screaming. There is a big difference. Now, mind you, I didn't mention pain. Pain is a little different. Pain is a little complicated because that's more reactionary than it is actually digesting and dissecting what's going on. So I will explain pain a little bit differently when we get to it. So, with these extremes, again, the reason they're labeled as extremes is because they're carnal, they're traumatic, uncontrollable. They're meant to be very instinctual. It's meant to be very grounded to the core. You must listen in one shape, fashion, or form, because that is your back is against the wall. That is nothing left to lose. That is every bit of extreme that's coming in is finally just pouring out like a volcano and pouring out of the Watergate. Everything is coming out. Real extremes actually physically hurt, so it needs to sound like it hurts without actually hurting you. So again, we're going to find safe ways to show these extremes, starting with screaming, aka vocals at top volume. This is not saying that you must be able to scream across a football field. This is not saying you have to scream to be heard at the top of a bleacher. This is just screaming at your top volume. Because screaming essentially is trying to overtake every sound around you to be heard for one reason or another. This could be going to powering up like a Super Saiyan. This could be screaming as you're watching your friends burn, yelling out a declaration of pride and justice, screaming in hilarity because something funny happened, fear, or even torture. Like, there's so many different points of screaming where top volume is required of the effort behind the voice. Now, I'm sure people are thinking, well, that's easy, just scream. Just scream into the microphone. It's not that hard. Screaming into a microphone isn't that hard. Sure, people scream all the time. Babies come out of the womb screaming. We all know how to scream. And I guarantee you're thinking, just scream for your throat. Just scream from your throat. Yeah, because that's where we all scream. Yeah, don't fucking do that. Don't scream from your goddamn throat. Because guess what? If you scream from your throat, you're putting yourself into major, major health risk. So, you want to keep working? Don't scream from your throat. Just bottom line. Bottom line. If I really need to reiterate further, I'm about to introduce you to your worst nightmare. So, why should you care where you scream? Why you should care where you scream? Allow me to introduce you to a voice actor's worst nightmare. If you've never had this nightmare, I'm going to give it to you now. So, congratulations. Welcome to your first nightmare. Take a look at these vocal folds. These are vocal fold lesions. So normal at the top, you see vocal folds. They're not like vocal cords where they play like on a guitar or anything like that. They're actually flaps in your throat that open and close and shutter and vibrate and all that stuff depending on the sound you want to be able to make. So every time like you sing like you'll be able to control your vocal cords to open and stretch and be able to make those sounds accordingly. Your mouth is the one that makes all the consonants, that makes all of the vowel sounds, but your throat is how all of the sound comes out. And naturally, as human beings, instinctually, when we scream, we use our throats. That's just natural human nature. But then you develop these things called nodules. Yeah, if you zoom in real closely, there's these little bubbles on your vocal flaps that rub against each other. And they usually appear when your vocal cords are damaged. And they're trying to... They think like they're little scabs. Little tiny scabs on your vocal cords. They rub up against each other and it hurts really bad and you're like, oh my god, my voice hurts, oh god. It may be a vocal nodule. It could be a tear in your, it could absolutely be a tear in your vocal folds, but it also could be a nodule just rubbing against each other. And it's really, really bad. And mind you, over time, they could just reduce themselves and go away. But they could also develop into polyps as well. So, nodules asking his rhetorical question, not a real one. But yeah, so polyps, they're bigger. And they rub, and they hurt, and depending on how big these nodules and polyps are, they might require surgery to get them out. These will absolutely ruin your career if they're not taking your voice seriously. So, yeah, these things will develop if you don't take care of your goddamn voice. So, yeah. We're going to prevent that, okay? We're going to prevent you from getting to this worst nightmare by giving you multiple steps to make sure your voice is ready to take on this extreme with the following steps. First of all, we're going to vocally hydrate, okay? We're going to vocally hydrate, okay? That means drink water. Water. Water, dummy. No, I don't want to hear, but it's like soda. I can drink soda and all this stuff. I can drink Gatorade. Water. 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 H2O. The thing, I know, Brian's looking at me. I also have been bad at drinking water, but I do drink water when I'm recording in the booth. That's how much I take care of myself. But drink water. We're going to keep our voice hydrated. We're going to keep our vocal folds nice and hydrated. We'll make sure they're not dry in any shape, fashion, or form. And then we're also going to do vocal warm-ups. We're going to get our folds loosey-goosey, lemon-juicy, and we're going to make sure that they are able to stretch and bend as much as we physically need in order to make sure that they can bend without any sort of tears or lesions going into them. Okay? Okay, great. And then we're going to dissect where to yell from. Because obviously me going, stop screaming from your throat is not necessarily helping you. It's like, okay, then where the fuck do I scream? Well, there's multiple places you can scream without using your throat as the core of power. It'll be the source of your sound, because obviously, scientifically, that's how sound is produced. But the strength of that will come from a different spot. And I love how you mentioned diaphragm in chat, Mao. Allow me to kind of pump the brakes on that. Your diaphragm only activates when you inhale. You can't activate your diaphragm when you exhale, when you make sound. You can activate your stomach and your core, but you can't activate your diaphragm, which is literally the small line underneath your lungs, because that only activates when you inhale. So instead of thinking diaphragm, think core. Think your abs, your stomach, like all the little, like, I don't know if you can hear that, but your tummy. Think there rather than your diaphragm. So there's also multiple other places other than the diaphragm where you can use to gain your power. And then the most important fact of this all is to know your limitations. Now, a lot of people will try and scream for a role and scream to the highest peak of their ability and will push the boundaries of their voice to be able to be heard and to be able to be believable in a scream. If you cannot scream without pain, stop. That means you are not able to do it. You cannot force a scream without hurting yourself. So please do not force your screams. Know your limitations. If that means you can't necessarily scream your head off because a ghost is coming to kill you, then I guess you can't scream your head off when a ghost is coming to kill you. That means you probably just scream when a mouse is running across your feet and you're like, oh God, why? That's probably the best you can physically do. And through practice, you can stretch your limitations and soon be able to scream your head off. But that requires practice, time, and dedication, and not you just going, well, I'm gonna force it because this role requires it. No, it doesn't. Stop. Know your limitations. Yeah, don't force it, stupid. So, we're gonna go through step-by-step, real detail of how to make sure that you can scream properly. Step 0 is your prep. Not step 1, step 0 is your prep work. So, with prepping to scream, obviously, get your water ready. I'm not reminding you a third time about water, okay? I'm not reminding you again. But if you're in the booth recording, if you get cast in like some sort of official thing and you're in the big fancy office studio with the big fancy microphone and all that stuff, wait for your engineer. Obviously, your engineer will have the script in front of them, be like, okay, you're gonna scream, I'm gonna lower your volume, I'm gonna move the mic, I'm gonna go into your booth, open your mouth, move the mic, okay, don't touch it. Just don't touch your mic. Wait for the engineer to give you the cue to go ahead and give you the director the cue to go ahead as well. Okay? Just wait. But if you're like 90% of the rest of us who do remote recording, obviously first step is you want to warn your house and your neighbors that you're going to scream bloody murder. Because the last thing you want is all of a sudden you book a role, you're very excited, you're very fantastically like, oh my god, I get to be part of this, I'm gonna throw a role out there, zombie run game where we're running away from zombies and I'm part of the crowd and I'm screaming to high heaven. And you forget to tell your neighbors, or you forget to tell your housemates, or you forget to tell your family. So you get into the booth, you start screaming, ah! Ah! You're screaming bloody murder. All of a sudden someone goes, oh god, is someone dying in there? And then you hear a knock on your booth door. Hello? Are you dying? Hello? Are you in there? And you just have to explain before they call the cops, being like, no, it's for a role. I promise. It's for a voice acting. I'm a voice actor. I'm doing a voice acting thing. Sorry. And obviously don't scream in the middle of the night when everyone's sleeping. Take into consideration your neighbors and all that stuff, or else someone might call the cops. And then you're going to have the cops to deal with. Then understand your mic sensitivity. By screaming bloody murder and all that stuff, you want to make sure that your mic is not very, very sensitive and all of a sudden you break the internal of the microphone with your screaming. Learn how to understand your mic sensitivity by lowering it and raising it as needed for your screams and for your regular lines. Again, this requires research into the mic that you have and maybe the preamp that you have to make sure that you can lower and raise it as needed for the roles required. And again, proper noise absorption. I shouldn't say again because this is the first time I'm mentioning it, but nonetheless, proper noise absorption is so key important. This should probably be the #1 thing all voice actors should do when considering remote recording. Not getting the best mic out there, not getting the best preamp out there, not getting the best DAW out there, getting proper noise absorption. Because sound bounces. Sound bounces off of every single surface in the general facility at a very fast speed. So what you want to do with screaming, you want to make sure that the noise absorption you have is absorbent enough and stable enough and fluffy enough sometimes to be able to take all of your sounds and just eat it all up and make it disappear before it decides to bounce back into your mic like an echo. So make sure you have proper noise absorption, especially if you're screaming. Especially if you're screaming. So, that's step 0. Step 1 is your warm-up. So, obviously you want to vocally warm up because extremes require your voice to be very, very warm, or else you're going to be very, very in danger. So, vocal warm-ups that you can do, for example, are tongue twisters. They move your mouth around and your tongue around like mommy, me, mama, moo, or What's another one? Like, Mommy made me mash my M&Ms, Chester Cheetah chewed a chunk of cheap and chunky cheddar cheese, like, all of these fun little tongue twisters, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, all of these things that will help open up your mouth and make your tongue move, make the saliva glands move around in your mouth, be able to open things up and make you vocally warm in the mouth. And then you have singing warm-ups. Singing warm-ups is another option that a lot of people use. They can stretch your vocal cords, they can stretch your vocal folds, they'll help you expand your range, and there are literally hundreds of singing warm-ups online. Do not tell me you can't do a singing warm-up. I guarantee I will find one and then slap you in the face with it. And then there are humming lip rolls. Those are giving vibrations. They keep things nice and loose, especially your lips, your tongue, the inside of your mouth, and eventually your throat. You'll feel it kind of like in your nose sometimes, like but it also activates and helps vibrate your vocal cords. So please consider these vocal warm-ups and do at minimum, as in like the required number to do the warm-up at is 5 minutes. Please do more than 5 minutes, but if you're like rushing to get in because of a surprise audition, 5 minutes. Give 5 minutes of a vocal warm-up. Then get in there and do your thing. All right, step 2. We're gonna find our focus. So like I mentioned, do not use your throat. There are many other focuses that you can use in terms of screaming. So where you can scream from. You can scream from your head. You can scream from your chest. You can scream from your stomach. Or as some people say, diaphragm, but really you want to focus on core. So think your core rather than the diaphragm. And there are many other places on the body where you can use to essentially tighten up and use as the force behind your sound. There was someone that I talked to once. I highly respected them. Like, I don't know if they're still voice acting now. It's been a long while since I spoke to them. But they told me that they screamed from their balls. They screamed from their balls. And I believed them. Listening to the soundbite, I fully believed that scream came from the depths of their nutsack. And you know what? It helped save his voice. And that's completely fine. As long as he did it correctly and did it to the degree where he doesn't sound like he's going to shred his vocal cords. That's completely fine. So take that into consideration. Anywhere on your body you can essentially use to scream from. Your throat is where your sound comes from, but the above locations and more will be where the strength comes from. It's where the sound and the power behind that scream comes from. So we're going to do some examples so that way you can understand like where you can kind of pull from these different parts of your body. Let's start with the head. Usually when you think head, you think very high energy, you think anguish, excitement, surprise, and all that stuff. So instead of feeling all of that pressure in your throat, think of your voice as lifting higher, and this may bring a little bit of lightheadedness the first time you do it. But in your head, hopefully this works, hopefully it's not too loud, you'll be able to maintain for a longer period of time.
Oh my god, is this for real? This is actually happening. I can't believe we're here right now. You kneeling there, proposing to me. Oh my god, this feels so surreal and perfect. Oh, this is the best day of my life, and I swear I'm going to remember this forever.
Thank you for my improv writing skills. But as you can see, it's all the way up there in my excited head range. I'm able to maintain it without feeling like I'm straining. I was in the booth able to do that, and I could go for like a full hour just there because I know it's up in my head range, and I know that instead of like, oh my god, like focusing on my throat, I lift up the voice and go, oh my god, all the way up here. And it's less straining on my voice, and it's more up in my head, and it helps me maintain a character voice. It helps me maintain being able to have that high intensity of excitement and surprise, etc., etc. That's an example of where you can use your head. Now, for the chest, for example, you can utilize this for like your anger, your courage, your pain. This is where your soul resides, your heart resides. So a lot of passion comes from your chest. So when something affects you that deeply, when some sort of trauma like comes at you, you can use your chest to really emphasize how much someone deeply like hurt you, how you can stand your ground, how you can really be defiant.
Why would you do that to me? Do you even realize how much that hurt me? I gave you everything, and you just threw it all away like it meant nothing. I'm sick of this, sick of being treated like I don't matter. I'm done taking your lies and your excuses.
Again, chest could be where you get your passion and your anger from. It's a really strong connecting voice where you can just slam into it and just let it go without all of a sudden, like, you're shredding your vocal cords and all of a sudden, I'm screaming at you and now I can't scream at you anymore because I fucked up my voice. Oh, fuck. Nope, you pulled it from your chest. Your sound came out of your throat, but the strength came from your heart. Think of it like that. And then we have our stomach, which is more akin to like fear, stubbornness, even pleasure. A lot of pleasure vocals and even pain vocals come from stomach and core. So how do you know when you've been screaming from your chest? You'll feel it. These are not just, you can just scream from your head and magically la-di-da. You'll be able to feel that power come from your head, your chest, your stomach, things like that. So your stomach, for me, and again, this could be very different for anyone who tries to practice this. It could come from fear, stubbornness, like that nauseous feeling of being nervous and just pushing everything away and be like, leave me alone, leave me alone.
No, I'm not going in there. I don't care what you say. It is not safe, and I'm not taking that risk just because you think it is. You don't understand. I know something is wrong. Stop trying to push me, because I'm not moving a single inch from this spot. I'm staying right here, and that is final.
Again, it's about making sure you engage with different parts of your body. You'll feel that power wherever you want to engage from, as long as it's not your throat. As long as it's not coming from your vocal cords. You can, again, pull from your balls if you have some balls. You can pull from your, like, biceps. You can pull from anywhere on your body to help support your throat. So, yeah, that's essentially what you can do. And then, step 3, once you figure out where your power is coming from, ask why. Again, acting. You're still acting even if you're screaming your head off. Why the fuck are we screaming? Why are we screaming? And literally, I don't know what we're yelling about! Things of that nature. So why though? Again, it could be so many things. Desperation, intolerance, emotional damage, catharsis. Like pain, there's so many different reasons why you get to this point. So imagine screaming to be like a form of a limit break, where you have reached your limit of something and you just can't control yourself anymore. You can't stop yourself from pushing through it, like a limit break. It is basically, you got nothing left to lose. So scream. You are literally Donald Duck if you're screaming. Imagine it kind of like that, where Donald Duck's trying to hold it in, trying to like be rational, but at the flip of a switch, when that limit is broken, when that barrier is breached, when the line in the sand has been crossed, screaming is the only thing you can do. And that could be a basic reason why, and you can dig further to why with reading your script and understanding your character. So think about it like that. So practice time. We're going to practice all together, okay? We're going to practice all together. Obviously, you don't have to scream at full volume because we're not trying to, like, make sure the neighbors called on your, we're not trying to make sure your neighbors call the cops on you. We're trying to make sure that you know how to engage certain parts of your body. This is practice for you being able to pull from different parts of your body without necessarily like going full throttle. But this is just so you know and you have practiced how to pull. So we're gonna start with the seagull here going, I'm tired. I'm tired. Okay? We're gonna go with that. So, the first thing we're gonna do is exhaustion. Let's just say, like, your friend comes over and be like, hey, yo, guess what? I know you just got off, like, a 12-hour work shift, but I got a party that I want to be able to do. We're gonna rent a party bus. We're gonna go through the city. We're gonna go to bar hopping. We're gonna go to this bar, and that bar, and this bar, and that bar. And they keep talking over you, like, hey, listen, hey, stop, hey. I'm tired. I'm tired, okay? I'm tired. And for me, I feel that more in my chest, where it's just like, I feel so physically exhausted. I can't. I really can't. Please, I'm begging. I'm tired. Ah. Try to figure out where that exhaustion comes from you without using your voice. That's the challenge here with this practice. Don't use your voice for the power. Use your voice just for sound, but find your power everywhere else, anywhere else. Then we're going to go on to anger. Anger, again, this is very visceral, this is very carnal, internal. It could just be, why are you doing this? Why are you defending all these people? Why are you defending this person? Why? And you're just getting bombarded and absolutely pushed against a wall, where all of a sudden this rage and this anger just comes out of you. I'm tired! I'm tired! Okay? For me, that comes out of my stomach. That comes from my core, because I'm trying to stand up for myself. I'm trying to be the bigger person, because this person just pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, and just like, no, I'm tired. Shut up and listen. I am tired. And I don't even need to use my voice for that. All I needed to do was to use my stomach, my big old belly. All right? This one might be a little harder for some people. This might be a little harder. Sadness. Sadness does have an extreme that can go into yelling. And usually the sadness, or even like excitement, for example, can go high into your range of energy, where you're so bombarded with literally everything. You're bombarded with all these emotions, these feelings, these people having expectations of you. All of a sudden, you're put in this position of trying to explain yourself, and you want to be able to just have a moment to yourself, have a moment to be able to grieve, to be able to have I'm tired! I'm so tired! You don't understand! Please! And it comes from my head. For me, it comes from my head, because that's the high energy. It's the high stake of me being desperate and pleading and just understanding that I need to be able to mourn too. I need to be able to be human, to feel human. I'm tired. Please. And it comes from my head. So yeah, you gotta feel where that energy is coming from. And using this practice with just 2 simple words, I'm tired, you'll be able to engage with some part of your body to be able to ignite that power. And the way you know you did it right is by doing exactly what I do. I do the line, screaming it out, I'm tired! And then talk normally. If you can talk normally immediately after screaming, if you don't feel any strain, or at least very little strain in your voice when you scream, and you're able to talk immediately after screaming, you got it. You found where your power is. You found where a good source of power is that will help you, give you that boost of energy to be able to scream properly and safely. Okay? That's how you know. That's how you know you can scream safely. But yeah. The only reason I'm taking drinks is because literally there's froth in my mouth because I'm talking so much. Now, let's recap what we learned, okay? Let's recap what we learned. Location matters. Do not scream from your throat, forehead. Don't do it. You're going to hurt yourself. Do you want me to bring back the nightmare? Do you want me to bring back the voice actor's nightmare? Because I will. I'll bring the panel back. I'll make you afraid. Because there are so many actors who have done extreme vocals, and it's not to the degree of just them being careless. It's to the degree of they did it so much that it hurt them so badly that they were hospitalized. For example, Asura's Wrath. Liam O'Brien is the main character who voices the main character of Asura's Wrath. He went to the hospital with how much exhaustion his voice went through. So here, I'm here to give you a tool that can help you reduce that risk. Even if you're going 10 hours a day, where you can take your breaks in between, where you can make sure that you're warmed up, these power places that you can have that's not your throat will literally lower your risk of hurting yourself. It will lower the risk. There are multiple options depending on the emotions that you feel, but I guarantee you there's somewhere on your body where you can scream from to give you your power that's not your voice. And imagine screaming is your limit break. You must answer why. You must answer the why even if you're screaming. Why is your character screaming? Why do I give a fuck that your character is screaming? Know that where that limit is for that character to not scream, and then break it. Break that limit because you need to scream. You have to scream. You are at your limit and you are literally a volcano popping that top and just exploding over. Because you have nothing left to lose. And that's a baseline for any screaming. Because screaming is very carnal and it is very much a power grab to being heard. Okay? Okay? Okay, that's screaming. Let's talk about pain for half a minute before we go into crying, because crying is a little more complicated. But pain, aka getting hit or doing the hitting. So when we think of pain, we think, most of us typically 90% of the time think taking pain. Whether it be like, oh god, I got slashed with a dagger. Oh my god, my hand is burning. Like something pain related. A lot of people don't think about doing the hitting as well. Doing the hitting actually like causes pain as well and has some effort vocals in it. It could be doing a superhero landing and landing on your knee and going, oh, fuck my knee, god damn it. It could be like dodging a bullet and then just grazing over your skin, like, ooh, the nice little wind against that open cut, things like that nature. So when it comes to pain, there is the question of, what about pleasure? I would like to remind you all that we are on youtube.com and also twitch.com, and there are TOS rules that designate that I cannot teach you pleasure. I cannot teach you how to do pleasure vocals. I'm sorry. That would be enticing pleasureful reactions, and I do not wish for any sort of miscommunication on that. So here is me stating that I cannot teach you pleasure vocals. I am so sorry. What I am here to teach you is pain vocals, which mechanically you can also use for pleasure vocals in a different manner as you change certain words. Okay, we're going to clear that up right now. So pain. So think about pain of who is getting hurt. Is it you or your target? So if you are the one getting hurt, obviously you are going to have a reaction to that pain. It's going to be very different instead of you hurting your target, where you are giving that effort to inflict pain. Sometimes that pain will resonate back to you. That happens. It is what it is. How hard is this hit? Is it a feather-like tap of like getting cutely anime-style karate chopped in the head and going, oof? Or is it a boulder that's literally gonna crush your bones underneath its weight? How hard is this hit? Did skin break? Are there damaged nerve ends? Is there blood pouring out? Is it nice and warm where the damage is? Is a bruise forming? Like, what is happening scientifically that is causing this pain, and how is that causing a reaction in your brain? And what kind of hit is it? Are you getting hit with a weapon? Are you getting beat to death with a bat? Are you getting knuckle brawled, like bare-fisted? Are you getting attacked by... Are you the target of a fireball? Those are the things you have to ask and figure out in order to scientifically dissect how pain is going to be relayed behind a microphone. Because we can't just go up to the camera, that invisible camera that's not even there, and go, here's me writhing in pain after someone stabbed me in the gut. And you do all the actions, go... You can writhe around on the floor all you want. You gotta make sure it's believable for the mic to understand that, oh, you're dying. Oh, you're actually in pain, not just making random blah, 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 blah noises behind the microphone. So, let's dissect pain a little bit, because the way you are able to emulate pain vocally is by dissecting it piece by piece. So that way you can truly understand where that pain is coming from and how your body and voice would react to it. So what is pain? A negative sensation in how the body like basically reacts to discomfort or distress. So in the opposite spectrum, pleasure would be the positive sensations. But with pain, it could be just, oh, I don't like how that's feeling. Oh, the creepy crawl is... It's everything that is a sensation where your body is just having a visceral reaction. And it can make you vocalize, it cannot. There are some people who are very silent pain receivers, who they don't vocalize when they're in pain. The cats do this all the time. You don't hear a cat really meowing for pain unless they're in extreme pain. There are some human beings that you can smack them around with a hammer all you want. You're not getting a sound out of them. It's fully dependent on the person, and it fully depends on how that pain is being inflicted. So pain, again, results in different ways. It could be physical, as in like a fight, as in a decimation, torture, things of that nature. It could be mental. It could be an emotional strain of trying to have a memory, of trying to recognize something. It could be emotional pain, a toxic relationship, and you're just trying to just whittle it in. It's a discomforting feeling. It's like, I don't want to feel like this. Or it could be a spiritual pain. Pain comes in different ways. More often than not, 9 times out of 10, the pain that you're gonna be able to vocalize in the booth is gonna be physical pain, followed only second by like mental pain. But physical is kind of where a lot of pain behind the mic is kind of asked and required of us. Now, we also have to remember how pain is delivered. Is it a swift pain, like when you get slapped across the cheek, like, ah? Like, how is that a very swift versus a slow one where, like, someone's slowly bending a bone and you're just like, and it's slow and it's torturous versus like a hard pain where someone literally with bronze knuckles clocks you like between your eyes. You're just like, like how painful is it versus soft where it's like your brother like slapping you on the wrist like, hey, don't do that. Ow, what the fuck, my dude? Like, it's, again, figuring out how that pain is delivered will give a different reaction depending on how intense or not even intense or how long or short it is. So what happens with pain? We have pain awareness. We are sudden with our varying reactions of instinctual reactions to pain, whether it be getting a slap on the wrist. Ow, what the fuck? Ow, what? Damn, that stings. Versus like getting hit with a fireball and going, fuck, and feeling the burns go across your nerves, your skin, all of that stuff. Your pain receptors, there's physical tension in your body. Everything starts to tighten up because guess what? Your body does not like pain, so it's going to start contracting and is going to start trying to like save you from being pain. It wants to stop the pain from happening. Your brain sends pain-killing endorphins throughout your entire body. It starts your immune system activation with all your white blood cells coming rushing in to give you bruises and scabs and all of that fun little stuff. Your adrenaline will start to spike because, oh my god, this is a feeling that naturally we don't want in our lives. And if you believe with flight, fight, fawn, or freeze, it'll put you in one of those positions where your reaction could be where it takes your breath away, or it could be just where it's very vocal and it's very straining on your spirit. It could put you in all of those different positions, and how you react to that pain is how you think your brain will respond. So, let's talk specifically about giving pain first before we talk about taking pain. Taking pain is a little easier. So, giving pain, a lot of people think giving pain doesn't cause pain. It does. There is a little bit of pain involved because it's effort. We consider that pain to be effort. So, there's tension in the shoulders because naturally as human beings, we don't want to give pain. We're not in society, we're not meant to really think, oh, I'm gonna slap the shit out of the next motherfucker who looks at me wrong. Like, we don't naturally think that. We are caused to do that. We are enticed to do that. So there's tension, there's building up. It's just like, oh, fucker, motherfucker, I want to punch you so freaking hard. And you can feel the tension in your body take over. There's tension in your muscles and all of that. You're basically contracting in. There's, again, muscles contracting. Any contact that you have may have pain if you are like doing, for example, bare knuckle brawling, if you're swinging with a sword, with a weapon of any kind, if you're causing all of this thing, there will be some sort of pain, even if it's mental pain. Even if the mental pain of like slapping someone that maybe did not deserve it. There is a pain revolved around giving pain, because unless you are a sociopath or unless you are a sadist, there is some sort of reaction to breaking past societal norm to inflict pain on someone else. There's tension, impact, and basically the mental whirlness of being able to inflict such things. The mental system will start reacting, and a lot of power focus for those who need that power focus would be in the chest or in the stomach area. But you want to basically imagine your body just coming in and preparing itself to inflict pain. So if you're a weeny whiny little baby like I am, because I'm a little weeny whiny baby, I will fully admit that I'm a little weeny whiny baby, and you're just like, well, I don't want to imagine myself hurting people. I don't want to imagine doing all of this stuff. I don't want to do that. I'm going to teach you how you can give those efforts, and you can feel the power tension in giving pain efforts very simply. You're going to grab a pillow. Your favorite pillow. It could be the pillow on your bed. It could be the pillow on your couch. It could be a stuffy that has some extra nice fluff in it, where it's something that's very, very sweet and very, very just very nice. Okay, you're just gonna grab a pillow. No one thinks of a pillow as sentient unless you play Date Everything. But nonetheless, you're gonna take this pillow and you're gonna be like Batman. What do I mean by that? You're gonna slap it. Just slap it. Just slap the pillow. I promise you, the pillow can take it. The pillow can absolutely take it. You're gonna slap it over and over and over. You're gonna do this. You understand me? You're gonna be like Batman and slap it over and 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 over until you feel what it means to be able to contract those muscles and prepare yourself to be able to give that effort. And you may even feel vocalizations from you. You'd be like, mother. You can imagine it being your worst enemy, like, God, I fucking hate you, motherfucker, God damn it. And you can just slap the hell out of it. I promise you, the pillow will be just fine. The pillow will be okay. I guarantee it. And the reason I say pillow is because any impact of pain that comes back to you from hitting it will be very soft. Will be very much like you can feel the intensity of why breaking past the societal idea of hitting someone is actually very unnatural. It's a very opposite human instinct reaction, where human instinct is just to survive. Being able to break past the societal norm does have an adverse effect, whether it be physically or mentally. And as an actor, you should recognize it and be able to use that in your arsenal when telling a story as a character. So again, slap it back and forth a couple of times, let out your frustrations, and then recognize how slapping a pillow or giving those efforts, giving pain, can put you in a position of being able to equate pain in that regard. So you'll be able to feel all of those efforts like, God damn it. And you'll be able to feel how your body contracts, how your vocalizations come just naturally with every breath, with every hit. Is there something carnal that comes out? You'll be able to use all these dissection tools to essentially effectively sound like you're giving pain. So taking pain is a little different. So when we think about taking pain, we're not trying to tense up to take it. No one in a fighting position is majorly tense to the point they're ready to take pain. Taking pain is reactionary. It is very much you are forced to take it and you have to adapt from it. So automatically there's a relaxation to it because you have to stay of just, if you start tense right here and like, oh my God, it just, it sounds like you're giving rather than receiving. So when you relax into it, like, yeah, there you go. There's the pain of receiving the hit rather than giving the hit. Again, the same idea, your muscles always contract, but the pain spot that you feel at gets warm. So it could just be that, you know that sting when you skid across concrete and you skin your knee? It's like, oh, ooh, you feel that warmth kind of sink in. You feel that warmth kind of like envelop your body. Again, the pain receptors are just trying to pump out pain-relieving endorphins. Your adrenaline starts to spike to try to mask the pain. There is a reaction to it where it's not just giving those efforts of pain and breaking past the societal idea. It's more of you're taking that pain and you're reacting like, fuck! Fuck! God damn it! And then the nervous system reacts instead of more of your mental, because you don't think about, oh, I'm ready to take pain. I'm ready to take pain. It's more of just, what about the tension of a hit you see coming? We're trying to emulate. I'm trying, Beirut, to emulate how to give vocals without being seen. So if I'm tensed up, ready to be hit as a character, if I give a vocal reaction when I'm really tense like this, like, it could be more construed of confusion of like, did I take or do I give? By putting myself in a relaxed position and taking that hit like, it gives more of a reaction of taking pain. So even if I'm really tense, even if the character is extremely tense, ready to get hit, having myself in a relaxed state gives a better translation behind the mic of taking pain, rather than having it be a question, well, did they hit or are they being the one hit? Which one is it? So it's really giving a hard division of making sure you know how to give pain and how to take pain. And again, this is going to be around like the head or the chest voice, because that's high energy. That is, we as humans are not expected to take pain. It is a reaction of unnatural sources where it's just kind of like, it's high energy, like, oh shit, I got hit. Oh my God, I got hit. Oh my God, I'm in pain. Oh my God, it hurts. It's high energy. It's up in your chest and your head. So in order for you to safely feel like you're taking pain, I'm going to tell you to take the towel off of Pikachu's head. And for those of you who don't have a Pikachu that has a towel on their head, I'm going to need you to grab a towel from anywhere. Grab a towel. Just a nice, soft little towel, okay? I have my Pikachu. I'm just going to take the towel off of little Pikachu's head. Pikachu! And I'm gonna roll it up. I'm gonna roll it up into a nice little tube. Okay? It's gonna be nice and soft. There's gonna be nothing in it. There's not gonna be nothing hard in it. So no sticks, no rocks, no nothing. It's just gonna be a nice little towel roll, and it's just gonna be nice and fluffy. Okay? And we're gonna smack our own wrist with it. Rather than, because anyone can just go smack their own wrist and be like, ah, that hurts. Understand how impacts affects you. And if you want to be able to just like tap your wrist or tap anywhere in your body to feel how your body, your nerves react to impacts, then you can do that to the safety of your ability. Don't actively go farther than that. But to the degree of you're going to take something very soft, and I have a cinema roll right here. I'm literally going to... So that way I can feel how that impact could affect me. If it was much harder, if my cinema roll was made of rocks, how would my body react if all of a sudden it was harder than the softness of the cinema roll? And it'd be like, oh, god damn, cinema roll, you got hands. Fuck. So things of that nature. Now, being that I've said that and put that into the ether, I'm sure someone is going, well, why don't I just actively clock myself in the head with a hammer to feel how I actively like react to being hit with a hammer? No. You do not need to method act pain. Please do not method act pain. That's not a good idea. Do not actively put yourself in danger in order to understand what pain feels like. I am telling you scientifically how you can dissect how to react to pain using your basic natural instincts and using your basic reactions to everyday things. And basically, you have to practice the gambit of imagination to be able to understand how you can realistically vocalize pain without you putting yourself in that position to method act. Please do not method act. Please do not do that. That's a very bad idea. Anyone who tells you that you need to method act that is a fucking idiot. Anyone who tells you that you need to actively hurt yourself to understand what pain feels like in order for you to voice act it, I want to clock in the head. Actually, literally, legitimately go to jail doing it. So please do not method act and actively understand scientifically how you can react to this stuff without actively putting yourself in danger. Okay? Okay. So, yeah, exactly. Method act can get very bad very quickly. So, we're gonna practice using two sounds, okay? And they're 3-letter sounds, onomatopoeias. It's great. We're gonna practice, and we're gonna follow Arthur's example, okay? Arthur clenching the fist, it's gonna be great. I promise you, clenching your fist is not gonna hurt you. It's not, unless you have really long nails, then you might wanna just grab like a towel or something and clench your hands around that. Just clench your hands. Unless you got really long nails, just grab a towel. So your first line is going to be, it's going to be closed mouth reaction. It is a closed mouth pain reaction. You may see as CM on a script, and you just pain noise. So, but I like to write it out as oomph. So you're going to squeeze your hand and go, and you're going to feel how that tension, that contraction in your muscles causes that reaction. Just like, there you go. And you can feel how you can connect with that and make a realistic sound rather than just ooh, ah. No. And feel that tension. And remember, don't use your throat. Make sure you're finding that power in that contraction. Okay? All right. That's the first one. Second one, we're going to do open mouth. So this is, you'll see it on a script as OM, open mouth, and you'll feel the pain, and you're going to squeeze like, and it may tingle. Your hand may tingle. Your hand may tingle a bit. You may feel that tension in all of those muscles, in all your knuckles and your fingers, all that stuff, all the good stuff, and you're just going to and you'll feel all of that necessity pain. And it's not like actual pain. It's just you'll feel that contraction to emulate that to the degree where it sounds believable behind the mic. Okay? So use those to kind of practice. You can use it to like squeeze your hand. Again, you can grab a pillow, slap the shit out of it. You can grab a towel, smack yourself with it. Those are the degrees where you can safely be able to connect to what is being contracted and what is being hit, so you can naturally have that reaction. Okay? Okie dokie. So pain recap. Again, understanding pain is simple as understanding the science behind pain. So you're going to understand the physical translation of being able to emote, with a lack of a better term, that pain into a microphone. Is it giving or is it taking? There's a big difference. Being tense and being able to hit and beat and be able to beat someone down, all of that. And then is it hard or is it soft? Is it a feather-like tap? Is it a big iron hammer coming at your head? Is the length of pain very quick and very swift, or is it long and torturous? Is it like a lingering pain like poison, or is it like a really, really quick, nice death of just not realizing how a slice has run you through? And your body's reactions naturally come with it. It could just be where the pain is just so rough where you're just like, and you just can't help but open your mouth. Or you're just trying to grit your teeth, or it's like, and you have your reactions kind of like that, where it comes viscerally, it comes from a place where pain could be emulated, but you're not putting yourself in a painful position. Okay? Okay. And again, don't fucking method act. Please. Please. Do not be the dumb motherfucker that decides to method act just because they want to be able to understand what the pain feels like. Don't do that. Just use science and use common sense. Please and thank you. So, now we're going to get to what I believe is the hardest skill to master behind a mic. Everyone can think of different degrees of what they think is the hardest skill behind a mic. It could be monster vocals, it could be like NSFW things, it could be whatever the case may be, what you think of the hardest skill. For me, the hardest skill to master behind the mic is crying. So, with crying, I want you all to remember a couple of key things before we really dive in. You are acting. You are acting. Crying does not require you to be weak or to be extremely vulnerable to the degree where you can cry just instantly. You are acting. You are yourself. You are not the character. You do not have to understand why the character is crying beyond just they have to cry here and I have to make sure that they're heard. You don't have to go beyond that. You are not bound to go beyond that. You are in reality. You are a real person. They are a fictitious character. You do not have to breach any sort of like trauma bond with them in order to make sure that you can effectively cry to the degree. You can cry without needing all of that. I'm gonna tell you this right now. You are acting. Your safety comes first. I'm gonna repeat that one more time for some of y'all, because some of you may have had directors who didn't consider your safety, or you are a director who needs to be reminded. Safety comes first. I don't care. I don't care if the scene requires a long period of trauma. I don't care if the scene requires a long period of tears. I don't care. Safety comes first. Period. Anyone who says otherwise wants to hurt you. And it could be for they want to hurt you to get a better character reaction. They want to hurt you to be able to get through the scene quicker as possible. Stop. Have the autonomy and the strength to recognize that your safety, above all else, comes first. And like I mentioned before, crying is very traumatic. It's actually physically traumatic on the body to cry, despite how healthy it is for mental health. Your safety comes first. Period. And also, you are not alone. There are many actors who still struggle to cry behind the mic. There are still many, many actors who try and figure out how to safely navigate crying and being very weak and vulnerable behind the mic realistically, so that way they don't put themselves in danger. It's okay. Just so you know, crying is healthy, no matter what. And if it comes out, if you just can't help but fall into crying during a recording session, it is okay. It is completely okay. It is absolutely understandable, and you should feel validated in the fact that you have that kind of a connection to be able to cry and let it out. Okay? Just laying this all out there before we dive in. Okay? So let's talk about the science behind crying, because that may help a lot more people than just saying, oh, emotionally trauma bond with the character. Let's talk about the science. So that way you can kind of understand how you can navigate your body to be able to emulate it without putting yourself emotionally into that position. So there is usually a stimulation or a trigger behind tears. Remember, this is a limit break. This is, where is the line in the sand that once I cross over, I can't stop the tears from coming out. I can't stop the crying from happening. There's an emotional break. There's an overflow of an emotional weight. Usually it's uncontrollable. It's carnal. It is baseline into the soul of a character or into the soul of their emotional being as to why they're releasing tears and why they're releasing emotions. Then the tears come out. The actual physical tears. The eyes become very foggy and glassy. Your sinuses stiffen and get stuffed because you're trying to see and you're trying to rationalize, you're trying to understand, your sinuses start fucking up, and God, because holy shit, the tear ducts in my eyes are literally filling up and just letting loose, and oh my God, things like that in that nature. Then your chest and stomach start to wheeze, your nervous system starts to go into overload, your breath is rapid and irregular because your spirit is trying to calm down, you're going into a panic. So physically, your body is just going into an overload, just like, I really don't want to feel like this right now. I really don't want to cry right now, but it's really too much to handle for me right now. And then you feel all of these emotions, and you feel just everything tightening up and just letting loose, and you're trying to maintain control. So physically, you're fighting yourself, and you're physically fighting to be able to grab hold and try, but you're failing to catch the tears, essentially. And then there's the emotional dizziness. There's the lost rationalization. When you heard me try and emulate that cry, me stammering, me trying to like rationalize my thoughts while everything is just swirling around, and I don't know how to feel about this right now. I just want to be held. I feel so alone right now, and I wish I could just tell you what my spirit is saying, but it's really hard to be able to vocally attend it right now. And then you'll be able to understand that everything coming together is putting your body into that situation of trauma. It's putting your body into that shaking sensation, into putting into that very vulnerable, weak state. And that's without even going into like the emotion. That's without even going into the all of this right here is physical. It is a physical understanding of what's happening to your body. There is a feeling of overwhelmedness, of being like so overpowered by like some sort of force in your skin, in your nerves, where you're trying to fight back, you're trying to maintain control. There's a shakiness because you can't physically wrap your hands around it. It's there and it's taking control. And that's the physical aspect. So if you can get behind crying using all of that, congratulations. This is a step to sounding like you're in tears without going into the emotional side, without diving into the emotional side. Because I can do this. A lot of people can do this very, very easily as long as you practice. It is a practice because your body is not going to recognize all of this unless you have a habit of crying every 5 minutes. Because it is something very carnally and unnaturally driven to where we're not expecting to cry. We don't expect to cry in our lives. We don't expect to go into these emotional ravels. We are forced to recognize the physicality of it And by practice, you can utilize it to make a realistic sound. So that's the science behind crying. Now, recall Voice Acting 101. If you haven't watched it, again, watch it later. But there are 3 ways that you can connect emotionally or connect to a character's truth and be able to give out the lie of it. You can understand it using empathy. You can use rationalization of logic. You can try and find an equal comparison. If some character has a death in the family, you don't necessarily have to go that far to think of death, but you can go so far as think of loss, think of something of equal value, where you can have that emotional parallel with a character and use that to emulate how they're feeling. Crying is complicated, first and foremost. It's not complicated to the scientific degree, it's complicated to the emotional degree. So, how to cry? Remember using science to fake it. You master your breath control, you practice it, you puppeteer your body for support, you're putting yourself in that vulnerable, weak state where your body is shaking and it's being wrapped by some sort of emotion, whether it be happiness, joy, sadness, anger. You have to physically embody that emotion just wrapping around your body and pushing and pulling it around to cause that sort of physical trauma. And you need to harness the acting with your voice. So remembering all of those whys. Why is your character in this position? Why is your character crying? Why is the character caring? Why does the character say the things that they're saying? That's where your acting comes in, and while you're physically trying to vocalize through cries this line, your acting is what's going to get the intention behind the line. Okay? It's just that. But there is a second way. There is a second way to cry behind the mic, which is very realistic. Just do it. I mean it. Just cry. It is okay. Now, some of you will be like, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean when you say that? Didn't you just tell us not to method act? Did you just tell us that we shouldn't method act because it's very unsafe? I'm not telling you to method act. I'm telling you to cry. I'm telling you to cry. If you need to, if you are so invested in this that you feel the urge to cry legitimately in a line read, cry. It's okay. Crying is good. It builds a healthy connection with you and your character, where when you're crying, you can understand why this is happening to the degree of, I get it. All right, I can use this and I can empathize with it to make their lie the truth. I can use this in my lie. I can use this in my acting. And it's a better lie for the audience because all of a sudden they're not looking at you, the voice actor, they're looking at the character who's crying. It's better lie for the audience to reconnect with what they're supposed to be listening to. And crying is legitimately healthy for you. So if you feel the urge to cry in the middle of a session, it's a release of emotions, a relief of heavy emotion. If your character is going through so much fucking trauma, then yes, let it out. Don't feel guilty. Just let it out. It's fine. Everything's okay. Your director might look at you like, oh my god, are you okay? Do you need a break? And you're like, yes, I need a break. Thank you so much. Take your break, but let it out. It's okay. It's 100% viable and absolutely okay to let it out. And it's less likely to be disbelieved. Audiences are extremely smart. They're not stupid. They hear when people are faking and acting. So, utilizing crying, if you have the ability to be able to connect and immediately start crying, you can provide what they are demanding of the character in terms of believing that the character exists in your lie. So yeah. There is ways to cry on demand, and I'm going to teach you these, but mind you, these require a lot of practice, these require a lot of safety, and these require an understanding that you may not master it. You may not master it, but practice will help you eventually may learn. So focus in on yourself. Crying on command is not something you can hype yourself into. It's not like, I'm ready to cry, I'm ready to cry, I'm ready to cry. No. It is, you're putting yourself in a realistic state where you have to accept a heavy emotional weight, where that weight is going to cause your tears, whether it be some sort of deep emotional connection to trauma, whether it be a memory, things of that nature. You have to recall that vulnerability and equate that to the character's emotions with like one of your thoughts and your memories, how sad and how hurt you were, or how elated and joyful you were, where you just can't stop the tears from flowing. And then ease into it. You are in control. At the bottom line, if you feel like you can't move forward and you're just like, nope, this is too deep for me. This is too much. Too much. It is too much for me. Back off. It's okay. You can back off. You are in control. Lock it in if you can, but if it's too much, just back up. Just back up. It's okay. You may not master it, but it is a skill you can use to help realistically convey tears and crying behind a mic. Again, if you can't cry, it's completely okay. Remember, there are physical triggers that you can use to emulate the sound. Rapid breathing, yawning, tensing your chest. There's relaxation. I didn't press the button in time. There's relaxation, releasing your tensions, opening the body to emotions. And remember to focus down. With a lot of high energy, like screaming and pain, we focus up, 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 because there's high emotions, high energy, high adrenaline. With crying, emotions actually come down and they become grounded in reality. Grounded is more believable instead of crying up here. Like, oh my God. Do you hear how fake it is where if I try to bring it up, oh my God, this is so much. Versus when I bring it down, oh my God, I can't believe this. Bring it down. Bring it down to your core. Bring it down to reality. Bring it down to your groundedness. It's more believable to hear cries from there than it is to bring it up high. Alright? Then I would be remiss if I were to tell you all of this stuff and not explain recovery. Because there are times when you're behind the booth where things are so highly emotional, you're shaken. You are shaken to the core. And you need that emotional recovery. So, if you are in that state where you're just like, oh fuck, I just did a lot of this. Oh my God. Like, you're about to like drop and you're about to like really go into a real panic attack. First of all, breathe. I will be a broken record about this, but breathe. Your brain needs to flow in the right direction, and sometimes panic will make it go too fast. So breathing in for 5. And breathing out for 5. And repeating. In. And out. Recenters yourself. Recenter your thoughts. Come back to reality after you have the time to come back to reality after you do your lines. Again, your director will wait. Take your moment. High emotions, it's a high climb. Even if it's down in your core, it is still a very extreme emotion. It is still a very extreme high that you're going to put yourself through. Like, even if you're just doing the physical side of it, where your body's physically very much demanding all of these shakes and all of these quivers, and you're just racked to the core. Take a moment. There's no rush to recenter. If your director is telling you to hurry the fuck up, you can tell them to fuck off. Honestly. Because a director should know better. A director should understand that having such an emotional high requires you to put yourself into a state where your body is going to be physically traumatized. And that's why I tell all my actors when they go into those emotional highs. It's just like, take a minute, take a breath. Whenever you're ready, go on to the next line. And that's how it should be. Whenever you are ready, when you are recentered, when you are able to go back in with a clearer mind and understanding that you are acting, you did a very good connection with your character, you had your read, and it was enough to move forward and move on. So take your time and recenter yourself. And breathe. Now, crying recap. It's very complicated. Be safe in practice. It does take practice. You need to have your body physically remember how it feels to have these emotional, like, crying moments of highs and lows and all that stuff. And to where you can effectively mimic the idea of being in tears, of being emotionally on the ledge, where you're just like, if you go over, your tears are coming straight out like a waterfall. The science behind crying will probably get you through most of, if not all, acting roles that have crying. There's an emotional release, there's a tension in your face and your chest, labored breathing, constriction of your muscles, the sinus goes crazy, your eyes get glossy, your mind starts going crazy and trying to comprehend what's being said. And that physical labor should be well enough. But it's okay to just cry. If you connect emotionally to a point where you're crying, use it. It's okay. It's cathartic. It is therapeutic. It is there to show that you have the understanding of the emotional weight, and you can use that for your acting, for your lie. Just take it slow, then recover. Okay? Slow, then recover. Now, again, a lot of warnings when it comes to any of these extremes, whether you're screaming, whether you're in pain, whether you're crying, and all that stuff. Extreme emotions equal oof. It's every single actor who has done high intense emotions understands the oof behind high extremes. There are actors who've walked out of booths being like, God, I cried for 30 minutes after. Oh my God. Oh my God. There are actors who literally, they're like, I screamed so much, like I'm a little lightheaded. I need to sit down with a nice hot cup of cocoa. There are actors who go into pain recordings and just kind of like, my stomach feels like it did like 20 million ab exercises. Like, holy shit. Like, again, self-care is top priority when it comes to your extreme emotions. When it comes to all these extreme lengths that your character will go through, your self-care is important. Because remember, safety is priority. Safety is important. Use the 24-hour rule where, because I have a 24-hour rule where if I go through something like extremely taxing, I take 24 hours to be like, hey, I need to chill. My body needs to recover. Because all of a sudden you may realize like, holy shit, that character is deeper than I thought. And you might feel the effects of it for that 24 hours. Use 24 hours to kind of just mentally recover, mentally recoup, mentally rest, physically relax, get some tea or water, and chill in self-care. But understand, these extreme emotions require practice. It requires practice. You can't just walk into a booth, scream your head off, and then forget where your power comes from, where all of a sudden you're using your voice. Stop. You need to practice where your screams are coming from. You need to practice how you're taking pain. You need to practice how your body reacts to crying to sound like you're crying behind the mic. Do a body scan where you're like, okay, is every part of my body okay? Is my throat okay? Is my mental well-being okay? Are my limbs okay? Is my core okay? And learn healthy tricks, such as the ones I gave you, such as new ones you may hear from other educators. Use healthy tricks to practice and maintain, so that way when you walk into a booth, you are ready to show that you can go to an emotional extreme for a director or for a writer and be able to bring their character to life in that regard. And practice will help expand your limitations. Okay? You are in control. Period. You are in control of all of these extreme emotions. Always remember that. So always take precedence and take control of it. Remember, safety first. I don't want to hear anyone here all of a sudden be like, I wrecked my fucking voice. How did you wreck your fucking voice? I screamed in my throat. You fucking idiot. I told you don't use your voice. Safety first. If you are an emotional high and you need that moment to step back and just calm the fuck down, yes, take that moment, take the autonomy and calm the fuck down. Take your time. Locate where your power is for any sort of extreme vocalizations. It could be, again, from like your head, your chest, your stomach, your balls. It doesn't matter. Find your power. Warm up. Keep your voice warmed and lubricated for when you do extreme vocals, because extreme vocals will strain you over a longer period of time if you're in the booth for like 5-6 hours. So warm up. Don't force anything. If you are forcing something, you're going to hurt yourself. Please do not force any extreme vocalizations. I am begging you. Don't method act. Please do not method act. You can scientifically, realistically be able to give emulated sound of pain and pleasure and screaming and crying without needing to method act. I guarantee it. I will bet my life on it. Remember your limitations, and they can always expand with practice over time. Self-care after all of your extreme vocals, and always practice. I promise and guarantee that you will be a better actor with practice. You'll be a better actor by just grabbing a script from one of your favorite movies or plays or all that stuff and practicing those things and finding where you can add your flair and add your extreme vocals and add your power and add all of these things that will give you the arsenal to walk into an audition room or to walk into an audition being like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. And that's what I want for every single one of you. Congratulations, you've now made it through my lecture. It was like an hour and a half long, but congratulations. Now go make casting directors miserable. That's the other goal that I always have. I love making casting directors miserable with the skills I give you all. So please make them miserable. Please make them regret, like, being a casting director because they have to choose amongst a million different amazing talents. I love it when casting directors, like, complain about that. I love it to bits. I love it. Now, there are other resources in terms of voice acting, in terms of getting into it, understanding the technical side of voice acting, getting jobs, getting started, like what mics you should use, what setups you should use. I recommend these, which is such as D. Bradley Baker's VO website, iwannabeavoiceactor.com. And it has great tips and links and everything to get you the answers you need for those really, like deep dives that I'm not going to be able to explain here. VoiceActingClub.com is an online forum / Discord where you can easily talk to those in the professional field who love to help people. Everyone in Voice Acting Club loves to help people. We guarantee it. We love helping. So I'm one of them. Like, I'm part of it. Like, I'm not like a VIP or anything like that, but I am in there, like, learning and constantly being able to regurgitate information that is relevant to be able to help students and help new voice actors like go through all of like being a better actor. There's also NavaVoices.com. They're voiceover advocates. Please support them. Nava Voices is the reason why we fight against AI. Like, literally, Nava Voices are the forefront of fighting against AI. So please support them. And there are other classes that you can take from other voice actors and other educators. They're not free, but they are there. Adventures in Voice Acting. They're professional voice actor classes. But just as a note, please make sure they are actively working actors, that they're not just giving you outdated information. So make sure they are actively working, because I will say this very lovingly, anyone can say that they're a voice actor in order to sell you a bridge. Anyone can do it. So make sure that the person you're getting advice from, the person that you're getting information and education from, is an actively working actor. As in someone who is in the field constantly learning themselves and being able to help you in that regard. If you want to know about me, if this is your first time interacting with me, hi, my name is Michaela Laws. My name is Michaela Laws. I have an active working voice actor and writer and a bunch of other things that are ridiculously crazy. There's my resume and work in my website at michaelaamandalaws.com. And there's all my social medias. You can literally find me at VA Michaela Laws. That's it. That's all. Like, I may not be present in like every social media under the planet, and there may be people who might be emulating me, and that's kind of fucked up, but you'll know it's me, because I'm very blunt, I'm very down to earth and very grounded, and I don't take shit. So you'll find me, and you'll guarantee you'll know it's me. Just don't think that everyone is me, but via Michaela Laws, you'll find me everywhere. All right. I'm going to give small Q&A time. I have a couple of students who may be here, or I may have some VTubers who found this and I gave them the link to this. If this is the time to ask questions, this is the time for me to answer any questions that you may have. If you are satisfied being able to look other places and look over other information, feel free. Again, this is a place where if I'm able to answer some basic questions, it's okay. It's okay to cry. It is okay to cry. I guarantee it is absolutely okay to cry. Absolutely okay to cry. Crying is a natural reaction to high emotional trauma. It's completely fine. And trauma could be good or bad. So just know that you can also cry in extremes from happiness too. So yeah. Though I will say, if there are no questions, I will be ending so that way I can go rest, as I've been talking for a very long period of time, showing off my own extreme vocals. That way I can also rest, because I also have a bunch of things that I gotta do tonight. So, yeah. But yay, I'm glad you all enjoyed. I'm glad you all were here. And I hope you all enjoyed. That would be really great. That would be really bad if you didn't enjoy it. Like, meh. Meh. How do you start voice acting not an adult, like getting casted, how to get the right setup? If you are not an adult, again, I can't necessarily guide you to that degree, where I am not a parent who would be able to like guide you to the direct line of how you can get work. But go to iwannabeavoiceactor.com and educate yourself. Go through the educational steps on iwannabeavoiceactor.com and be able to take all of that stuff, and when you have the ability to reach out and go into these communities of voice acting, recognize that you may not be cast a lot because you are underage. But now is the time where you can start perfecting your skills, so that way once you are an adult, you can go in and be like, I have the tool set ready to go from the get-go. So yeah. Favorite role that I don't have a favorite role, because I love all the roles that I'm blessed to be able to do. So yeah. Did I voice anyone date anything? Nope. I did not have the pleasure, unfortunately. A lot of the voice actors who were involved in Date Everything are very close-knit and in California. So, yeah. Let's see. When can you start voice acting? Now. You can start voice acting now. There is no right time to start voice acting. You just gotta ball up and do it. You just gotta ball up, get educated, train up, practice, stretch your vocals, and be able to understand how to do it. And then you're a voice actor. Ta-da! I guarantee it. Does this lecture also apply to doing death noises? Yes! Again, the focus of death noises or pain noises is to not use your throat, as that is literally your instrument. So using different parts of your body and using different reactions, contracting different muscles, being able to understand how your brain reacts and makes it come out viscerally from your vocal cords is the key. You can use any of these skills for anything in terms of voice acting, whether it be screaming, pain, crying, or even beyond that. Completely fine. How do you feel if you're not using... how do you feel if you're not using your throat? Fine. You're supposed to feel very fine. The way I test if I'm not using my throat is literally I do scream, 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 and then I'm like, okay, here we go. I actually just did a live recording with Magic Wave recently, and I did some heavy extreme vocals on the NSFW side. And the way that I checked myself and to make sure that I'm okay between my very heavy takes is that I did the sounds, pause. Okay, I'm great. And I actually physically said, okay, great. And I have to make sure that nothing was damaged and all that stuff, and nothing was strained. That's my check. Now, every actor has a different check, every actor has a different way of being able to do it, but that's how you know is if you're able to speak normally without strain or without, like, going completely banana cuckoo bonkers. All that stuff. Does every voice actor have day jobs on top of voice acting? Not everyone. There are some voice actors who make it their job to be a voice actor, and they're usually the ones who are in LA, who are typically in the union, who are on the call list for these high corporations, whatever the case may be. But 9 times out of 10, there's a voice actors who do have day jobs or things like that. I myself, I am a voice actor, and I am a full-time voice actor, but I'm also a full-time writer. The way that I earn my living is writing. I write ASMR, I write for video games, I write all of this stuff, and that's how I earn my keep to make sure I have a roof over my head and food on my table. So yeah. Do I have plans to write any more dark romance novels? Yes, I do. I just don't have the time. I'm literally doing other things. How do you work on making your line delivery sound better? Practice. Fucking literally, practice. Practice is the key to literally anything. If you just sit there and go, I can read a thing off of a script, you're not practicing. Read constantly. Practice your lines. Practice the role. Practice how to say things. And then you'll realize that practice will give you exactly what you want. Because by practicing and maintaining, you're building the skill to be able to do the thing. But you're a Dragon Ball fan, I can't help you there, man. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, I can't help you there. Let's see here. When doing NSFW, you mentioned the pain tips can help too. Without getting demonetized, how good are those tips on a one-to-one level? Replace negative with positive. Replace negative with positive, and the pain tips will go the same way. Because you're activating your reactions from your core You're reacting in NSFW wise. You're reacting the same mechanics that you would in pain, but just on a positive level. I'm not going to obviously emulate it now, but imagine essentially instead of the contractions of pain where you're just kind of like, imagine it being a pleasureful comfort to your nerves, a nice relaxing, like drink a soda or drink something that you like, drink it in that reaction of satisfaction, that reaction of pleasure comes from the same mechanics as pain. So yeah, on a 1-to-1, replace negative with positive and you got it. For a breakdown, is it more anger or sadness of why something being ripped away? It depends on the character. Again, you have to do basic research on your character and what the character is thinking about in the situation that they're in, where it could be anger or sadness. You have to do your research on your script. And that's why it's like, find your why. Find your why. Why is this character saying their line? Are they angry or are they sad? Why? There's your why. Figure it out. What are the most essential elements of understanding my vocal range as a voice actor? The essential element is practice. Again, practice will always be a key term. Consistently with actors, your natural speaking voice is probably what you're going to be cast as. But there are a few times where if you want to be able to try and do a different range or do a different character voice, it is about seeing if you actually can. And that means going up in there and seeing if you can actually go in the higher range, or if you go deep down into a lower range, how does it feel for your body? And if you can't necessarily reach that without straining, it's like, okay, you can do vocal warm-ups, you can do singing exercises, you can do practice. Again, practice, and then you'll understand where your range lies by trying very safely. It's kind of like, for example, let me just pull something out of the ether. Belting. A lot of people who want to be able to belt while singing. And so it's like, okay, how do I belt? I want to be able to expand my vocal range to be able to belt. Well, first, grab a song. For example, I'll do My All from Mariah Carey. And try singing normally first. I give my all to have just one more night with you. And I can just sing it very naturally. But if I want to belt, for example, I give my all to have just one more night with you. And so it's being able to stretch it and be able to see, can you comfortably get there? And if you can't, how can you comfortably get there? Does that mean you need to expand your vocal range by doing singing warm-ups? You need to do singing exercises? You need to do more like advanced training with a professional to hear you? Do you need to hear yourself? You need to record yourself, etc., etc. It's about putting yourself in the position to be able to hear and to be able to adapt safely to be able to get into there. Does that make sense? Would you want to voice an object show character? I mean, shrug, why not? Why not? So how do you get on a call sheet? Is it about networking or just luck? Both. It's both. So luckily, in the realm of the internet as it is today, there's a lot of casting calls and there's a lot of casting rosters that open up and get themselves ready for voice actors. You can apply if you want, but understand it takes more than just saying, hi, I'm a voice actor. It's understanding the dedication behind getting a call, reading the audition script, reading the audition document, having a demo ready, and having a vocal ready. So that way you're not just looking at the script going, well, I can't read this. Shit. Well, practice. Then when you are confident to be like, okay, I'm ready to be in a casting roster, apply. Apply when it's open. And there's always constant openings on Twitter, on Blue Sky. If you follow a bunch of voice actors, a lot of them will retweet and reblog it when they have the time. Like, follow up on that and just put the work in. And then sometimes it's luck. Sometimes you just look over and be like, hey, a really cool roster just opened up. Like, what? What? I want in. And you just apply it in, and all of a sudden you are on a casting roster for something very important. So it's about pounding the pavement and actively doing the work to be able to get into it. You can't just say, I want to be a voice actor. It's, no, do the fucking work and get yourself ready to have a demo, to have your voices ready, and to be like, okay, I'm here. Let's get into the acting roster, apply, get accepted, and then be ready for when an audition comes in. So yeah. It is a constant job, and us voice actors, the audition swings come and go. There are days where, like, there's no auditions coming in. Then all of a sudden, there are weeks of just 10 million auditions who have the same deadline. It comes and goes, and you just need to be on top of it and pound that pavement. Are you using every emotion? Yes. That's part of acting. Tips on how to handle breath control for extreme vocals or anything similar to talking fast. I will again reiterate, practice. You can't control your breath unless you have the knowledge on how to do it. It requires a full body scan of you being able to dissect where your powers come from, where your breath comes from, and just doing like vocal exercises, breath exercises. Feeling where that power kind of engages in your body, whether it be from your stomach, your diaphragm when you inhale, your head when you're up in that high energy range. It's just mentally recognizing where things are at so that way you can utilize it and then have control over it over time by practicing having control over it. It's kind of like weightlifting. If you don't lift the weights, you're not going to control the lifting weights. You have to get into it. In terms of talking fast, that takes time. And that takes, you take a line and you practice reading it over and over and over, and you try and speed up. Constantly. You try to speed it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's like a song. When you try and sing a really fast song, I am the very model of a modern major general. It's like, you don't start with that speed. I am the very model of a modern major general. Then you go, I am the very model of a modern major general. It's like, you have to practice to get into that. It's not just a skill that you can pull out of your ass when you're just starting. You need to look at it, practice, have that on your arsenal. And that makes you a better actor by having those practices in your arsenal. If you have any tips on practicing voice acting, grab a script. There are so many movie scripts online. Shakespeare, all of Shakespeare's scripts are online. Grab a script and read the fucking thing. Read it. And I'm not saying read it like you would a book report. Read it as if you are the character reading the line. How would you emulate it? How would you find your whys in the character's perspective? By putting yourself into that mental state of, okay, this is how I'm going to read a script. This is how I'm going to read for the character. This is how I think the character has their whys. That's your practice. So you mentally just put yourself into that position. So that way when you are in the studio, you're not wasting the director's time and going, well, how do you want me to do this? Well, how do you want me to do that? How do you want me to do this? The director is there to direct you. You are there as the actor to act. You need to have done your due diligence to sit there, look at the script, understand a character choice, and if the director doesn't like it, they'll tell you. They will tell you, hey, that's not the direction I wanted to go. I just had a session with one of my students, and I was helping him read through, and he had an interpretation of a line, which is more like really, really fast. And I'm like, no, stop, slow down. You are reading with the intent of cartoon, where it's just kind of like, oh, throw away. Like, don't throw this away. Don't throw it away. That's my job as a director, or that's the job of the director, to guide you to a different choice. But you still have to make a choice as the actor of the character. You have to make that choice first. There's another example is, as I'm an actor, I was in a session and we did a read through and all that stuff, and I did something completely out of pocket for the character because I fully believe the character acted like that. Because I'm like, this is what she would do. She would say it just like this. The director laughed for a solid minute at my acting choice. And I was sitting there going, oh my God, did I do something wrong? The director then turns to me and goes, that was perfect. We're going to do that one instead. We're going to do that instead of what I had in mind. It's like, perfect. It's just doing the work and doing your due diligence of finding your whys, learning about your character, understanding how you need to lie for them to act. It comes full circle of that's how you practice. Grab a script, dissect that character, dissect that script, why the fuck they're saying that script, and going. And that's how you do it. So, because you can go to classes all you fucking want. You can spend thousands of dollars going to classes trying to be better. Half of the work of being an actor is practicing yourself. It's actually putting the efforts of this educational stuff in practice yourself. So yeah, that's how you kind of do it. All right, I got 5 minutes on the clock. All right. I hope I answered everyone's questions, so I'm going to start wrapping things up. Again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back real quick. To find my socials, again, MichaelaLaws.com. I don't have active classes. I don't do like paid acting classes and all that stuff. I literally do these lectures because I think it's just beneficial for the everyman to have. You can find me at michaelalaws.com. Just so you know, I am a game dev, I'm a writer, I'm a voice actor, I am a director, I'm a lot of things under the sun. And yeah. All right. I'm gonna get going now. You all are awesome. Make sure you do your due diligence and make sure you do your best, practice, be safe, and understand your limitations while continuing to grow as actors. Thanks everyone for coming. Have wonderful sweet dreams. I'll see you all next time. Love you all.